Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Elmo,
I'm Tuna.
and this week we're going to be talking about the games in Gameweek 11. Saturday at 3 p.m. Man City 2, Fulham 0.
Yeah, Sterling and big KDB on the score sheet, and it was comfortable, weren't it, really, for City?
You kind of
Not
expected it
perhaps,
to be.
yeah, not perhaps the scoreline people would have expected, um, but like we say, a win's a win.
I think Fulham
And
looked a lot better in this game than they have done, which is surprising to say they were against City. But I think, as we pointed out over the last few weeks, some of the ways that they've been defending and trying to play the ball out the back definitely improved. They didn't. It kind of looked easy for City, but not as easy as you expected with Fulham's form.
yeah, and well, positive for Fulham is that's 2 weeks in a row now they've not missed a penalty, so well done, Fulham. You say about them playing out from the back. They did try that early on in first couple of minutes. Sterling had a chance, which he probably should have done a bit better with, which came from Fulham trying to play the ball out and losing it. But it didn't really matter, did it? Because a couple of minutes later, he had the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, it only took about 4 minutes as well. Great ball from De Bruyne to feed Sterling. Sterling's first start in a few weeks as well, due to
Yep,
injury and that. So uh, gets the ball, calmly slots it past the keeper. Kind of thing that you expect Sterling to do nowadays. He has been, well, over the last couple of years, he's been scoring goals like that for fun. But um,
yeah. I mean, it was a nice finish. I'd like to say a fantastic ball through. And if you go and watch our Burnley Everton video, you'll hear that I praise Pickford for it. This is where I think the goalkeeper should have been coming out and narrowing the angle.
yeah,
He just gave him far too much to goal to aim at. And I mean, Ariel is a pretty good goalkeeper. I mean, you don't play for PSG without being a decent goalkeeper, do you? So we were keeping Buffon out at squad.
I mean, he did pull off some really good saves though
He
throughout the
did.
game.
He sort of tried to make up for it, but again, once you get 1-0 down against City, it's pretty tough. And it then went 2-0 about 20 minutes later with a penalty. And with this, we'll hand over to our penalty expert.
Yeah, so Sterling got the ball. He felt the laces of the defender touch his knee, so that forced him to go down as if someone had just booted his shins as hard as they could. And yeah, De Bruyne slots home the penalty.
He did. I mean, you expect that from De Bruyne, but it's not a penalty.
You kind of expect that from Sterling as well.
Yeah, he went down as if he'd had his feet taken from him instead of being touched on the
There's
knee.
literally the slightest touch.
I have no idea how it wasn't overturned at all. Um, it was baffling, but I mean, it was given, and you sort of think City definitely would have gone on to score another goal, even had they not got the penalty. And like you say, had it not been for the goalkeeper and also the crossbar, KDB hitting a bar.
Yeah, I think most like the attack. I don't know if they had any attackers playing, did they? They're all like classed as midfielders.
I think so.
But I think they all throughout the game. I think they all lined up and tried to score. They all had the chances. Like I say, it was either bad shot from them or it were a decent keeper. But yeah, you expected more from City, but they got 3 points. They got the clean sheet, and it doesn't matter at the end of the day when you win 2-0. Whoever it's against, it's a win. Into It's 3 points, it's a clean sheet, and it's a boost for your confidence because I think City have needed that. I
Yeah,
still don't
definitely.
see them being like they was 2 seasons ago, where they were scoring for fun and teams should be afraid of them. I don't think Fulham were afraid of them that much.
No.
They've lost that threat. They're definitely missing
Yeah.
Aguero.
And obviously, we're expecting him to score goals every game, and like you say, it's just not happening. And Aguero being out could be one of them reasons, but you look at the money they've spent and the quality they have, you expect a lot more from them. And this is the first time this season City have won back-to-back league games.
Mm.
And when you go back to last season, in fact, the season before, I think they were unbeaten both seasons at this point, in terms of games at least. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's the past couple of games have been signs of improvement for them. But yeah, so I just can't see them doing too much this year.
I mean, that 3 points took them up. They're now sixth, so a massive jump from. We've said over the last couple of weeks how tight it is between first and like 15th. Obviously, as the weeks go on, it's kind of spreading out a bit more, but it just shows that Man City was what 12th, 13th, and that win shot them up there. Sixth place, 18 points. That's well, you kind of expect them being higher, but the league's starting to show a bit more
Yeah,
on where you kind of expect them to be. Fulham again another loss, but they're just outside the relegation zone in 17th with 7 points. I think if it weren't for City, I think they might have got a result out of it. Like I said, they didn't play that badly, and I do
yeah,
think that they are improving.
they certainly are. They seem to be growing a lot more into the Premier League over the past few games. Uh, we praise the goalkeeper. They do need to tighten up the defence. They are the highest team in terms of conceding goals this season with 21,
Mm.
and you sort of expect that from a promoted team. But as we saw with Sheffield United last season, your defence keeps you up. That's the most important thing, is having a solid foundation. And you hear quite often in a lot of sports that defence wins championships, and obviously they're not looking anywhere near championship contenders. But you've got to start somewhere. You've got to get your fundamentals right, and Parker has got a massive task on his hands. It's just fortunate that there is a couple of other teams that look pretty poor this season, really.
Yeah, I think that's
But
it. We obviously spoke at the start of the season on managers who we don't think will last that long, and Scott Parker was one of them that I chose. And like you say, I think there's just other teams that are doing a lot worse that are making Fulham look a bit better than what they are.
yeah, but again, they've got results in the games, and they already are for a reason.
Yeah, they are
Speaking of
growing.
managers, 700 games now for Pep Guardiola in his whole managerial career, 215 times of Man City.
Mm.
So it's a pretty big achievement, 700 matches as a manager, especially when you consider we've only particularly known about him for 10, 12 years he's been managing.
He had a year off as well.
He did have a year off in that. And I mean, he's only lost 82 games in that 700. And I mean, you can point to the teams he has and the players he inherited, but you still got to get the best out of them to only lose 82 out of 700. And it's one thing he does seem to know how to do on big games, at least, is he normally gets his players turning up. And past couple of years, maybe that magic's starting to wear off from him. Maybe it's time for another year away. Who knows? But he'll be happy with this result, definitely.
I know he's just signing a 2 year contract, and they've got up to sixth now, but it's still not the City that you kind of see, and the amount of money that City is spending, we don't really know how strict the board, the directors, the owners, we don't know how strict they are going to be. So it will be interesting to see if he does actually see out his 2 year contract, depending on how this season goes. But where where would he go next? There's a lot of
Barcelona.
people saying that they've kind of got him on a 2 year contract in the hopes of getting Messi next year. Um, if they get rid of him before that, then Yeah, he could end up. It'd be funny if they get Messi to Man City, sack Guardiola, and then Guardiola goes to Barcelona. Um, but you kind of see that if Pep did go somewhere else, it'd end up being a side that's got a wealth of players and wealth of money to spend again because that's where we used to seeing him. I don't think he'd be comfortable going to a club that needs building.
I mean, what's he need to do for the big five? He needs France and he needs Italy. So Juventus with Ronaldo. Let's see.
And PSG.
PSG, who have what, obviously Neymar and Mbappe. It's the sort of teams he likes to be at, and the only sort of teams he can manage.
It's definitely going to be interesting. I'd be very surprised if because I think this is the year that City need to do a rebuild. With Guerrero being injured so much and coming to the towards the end of his career, um, he
The
lost David Silva as well.
Silver
Who,
Company,
yeah, so they've lost
All
some
right.
Vieira. They lost some big players over the last couple of years that have been instrumental to City being who we know City as. So it definitely going to be interesting to see how it does with this rebuild. The amount of money that they spend on defenders, but this year they've leaked 11 goals, which you don't expect them leaking that many goals. And some of the teams that they've leaked the goals from, I think 5 of them were from Leicester.
Yeah.
Um,
But on the
so
flip side, they've only scored 17. And like we say, City, you expect them to potentially be touching 30 goals already at this point of the season.
yeah, so it'll be interesting because they definitely need to spend some more money. Uh, there's a lot of players there that they've spent a lot of money on that haven't pulled the weight what you expected for the price tag. Um, this is his opportunity to say, "Look, I can rebuild a team."
Yep. Not just take them over in the prime
Yeah.
and do what everyone expects.
Thanks for watching our videos. Hope you've enjoyed them. Please subscribe if you want to watch the rest of our season, where we'll be bringing you all the matches, our predictions, and plenty of other things surrounded around football. Please follow us on our socials. They're all down below as well. We've got our own YouTube channels as well. Please go and check them out. Plenty of different kind of content across all them as well. I've been Elmo.
I've been Tuna.
I'll take care.